Mark Salmon, Compass Real Estate. Great to see you, brother. we got, we
We
got it.
finally connect, man. This is awesome. I
I know,
appreciate the
finally, man.
opportunity.
Right?
Yeah,
We'll have to connect outside at some restaurant that might serve something that would be
let's go.
enjoyable to both of
Yes.
us. All right, man. I know I just did this story on this ordinance now. They had a meeting Tuesday night. I feel like did you go to this? This thing went on till like 11 p.m. at the South Lake
It's
Tahoe City
crazy.
Council.
It's crazy. No, normally, like we get there and they know this is the hot topic. Everybody's there for this meeting, this
Yeah.
piece of the meeting. But we sat around for 2.5 hours waiting for them to get to this point. And so, yeah, it stretched on by the time we spoke and then they got a chance to deliberate. They were making decisions at 11 o'clock at night.
That was nuts. So I went over some of them, and now, if I just to keep people in the know here, on this, these are proposed ordinances, and there'll be another meeting May 6th or something like that as well. But if these kind of kick in, this could happen as early as June 20th. What were some of the big significant takeaways? I mean, someone was talking about, I know 24/7, but exterior cameras, things like that. How does this, I mean, how does some of this get weaved in, man? How does it baked in?
Frustration is the main takeaway because it's like
Really?
the city is responsible for all of this. The fact that Measure T even hit the table for people to vote on because of lack of enforcement. And then you talk about just this is all regulatory stuff. And so it doesn't really matter if there's no teeth to enforcement. So they're just sort of guessing. I hate to say it like that, but yeah, somehow we went from the existing ordinance of like 1,400 rentals to some quick conversation and between a couple of the city council members, and they cut off 500. So now we're down to 900 with probably close to 6 or 7 being returned to those that lost their permits in 2021, which this makes sense. Those people should have it if they still own their property. And then so they're going to go really, really quick. And yeah, there's some other pieces, the decibel reading devices, cameras, like we can get behind stuff like that. That's no big
Yeah.
deal. But the 24-hour check-in piece, like that's next to impossible. So yeah, we've got to make some tweaks here and hopefully get in the ear of some of these guys before they have their first reading and actually approve this. It should take 2 readings before it's finalized.
Copy that. Yeah, and I saw like a 2 hour or 2 year waiting period. I think sometimes that could be implemented as well, right? You're like Sean. I've already been in the meeting, dude. Don't take me back.
No, it's yeah, 2 years. That came up at the last second. Scott Robbins, throws out, oh, we should do what they do in the North Shore, and you should have to own a property for 2 years. They're trying to take away from like more of a like the private equity style, like people are buying these things just for businesses versus like a family trying to offset some of their debt. And I understand that, but that's not going to solve that problem. And so we don't agree with that either. But yeah, you have to own a home for 2 years before you can even apply now, based on what they threw on the table.
Wow, man. So I mean, moving forward for people like you, I mean, what are some great advice you want to just say? Look, man, let's just get behind and support this. It's probably the best thing for our community.
Yeah, it's always got to be a balanced solution. They got to realize that it wasn't obviously I'm an anti-Measure T guy and I support a local economy as much as I support, having peace and quiet, but we've got to find that balance. We had an ordinance that was working. It's a data-based conversation always, and when facts fall on deaf ears and instead it's this like deceitful rhetoric that gets listened to, it's really just hard for me to swallow. And so I think maybe it's a slow rollout and we build up to a number that we can all live with and sort of have some sort of auditing or performance-based review process. How are our property managers doing? How is trash being handled, and noise and stuff? And then it's like, let's release some more. Let's just not set a cap and walk away from it. But who knows if we'll get what we want.
Right on, Matt. Well, I do. I appreciate our conversations, but keep fighting the good fight. I think I can see. I'm sure it is exhausting, and that's kind of part of the strategy. I think sometimes with these things, let's just keep whooping you down, beating you down, until people just like screw it, I'm done. You know what I mean? But you keep fighting the good fight, man. And how do people reach out to you personally, man? I know we can go through your properties as well, but you were so well versed in it. Definitely the go-to guy for real estate and some insight and some wisdom, man.
Hey, even if it's hate mail, send it, man. I want to have those discussions with people so
Yeah.
they understand my stance as a longtime local too. But yeah, mark at tahoesalmon.com. Shoot me an email. Call me. Look at my website, tahoesalmon.com. All my information's there, and let's have a constructive conversation about it.
Yeah, let's do one of those over a beer. Until then, man.
No problem.
So I think it's a Tonight Show. I could say that. All right,
That's
my
right.
brother. Great to chat with you, man. Again, I always appreciate what you do and fight the good fight. And I take care of people here also with some real estate, giving them the best thing they got.
Hey, taloha, brother.
Taloha, my brother. You giving it the best you got every day, man.